By now, you should have something like this in your Maya, a recent document you worked on. Now it's time for us to get our hands dirty with Maya, start to model something really good to get us prepared for other modelings. Okay, so this is what we are going to be modeling. Let me enlarge this so that we can see. This is just a scene, and this it's a vector art made in 2D, but we're going to do it in 3D. And there are some things I think I won't be adding because I don't see the use. Like this, I'm not really sure if I'm going to be adding this. Maybe if I'm going to model this, we're just going to keep it this way. This is calendar. Maybe we can, and we have books here. I don't know what is this. I don't know what is this. We're going to model this. This is definitely a tablet. Of course, we are going to model it. We're going to model most of the things here. The ones that does not deserve modeling, we're just going to leave them that way. And we are not just going to model exactly what we see here. We are just going to model what we think it's necessary or how we feel we want our scene to be. Now, you don't just have to copy this, you can get your own reference and work with it. It depends on you and how you want to do your own model. Now, some of the things are not being shown properly, and we're going to try to replicate that in Maya. One thing you need to understand is that while you are modeling, you have to focus on the parts that it's facing the camera. The part that is not going to be facing the camera, it is always advisable for you to just avoid that. Now, I want to point out something. We have a cousin here, but this is just straight. We are going to do this, but in a kind of a different way from the regular modeling we usually do. But you're just going to understand that. So now I'm going to minimize this and keep it here. Keep in mind this video, it's going to be separated into different parts so that you can really follow along. We're going to work on just this basic shape, the main house itself. Then we're going to start with this. We head over to the curtain and the window, and we head over to this part here. So that is how we are just going to do it isomally too. So the first thing we need to do is to set the project folder, which we already did. But if you haven't set a project folder, go ahead and set a project folder. Now, once you've done that, you are in that project folder. Just click on new to go into Maya. So here we are in Maya. Let me minimize this very well. Now, if you have two monitors or you make use of multiple screens, I'm going to advise you to just move this into another monitor. But if you don't, just dock it here and make sure that it is not interfering with your Maya viewport. And sometimes you can just hide the outliner and put it here so that you can have enough space to work with. You can also hide all this until when you need them before you are going to bring them out. At least it is going to give you a large space to work in. I'm supposed to put this on the second screen I have here. I have a 3 screen setup, so I'm supposed to put it in one of them, but because of this course, I'm going to leave it here so that you guys can see what I am working on. Okay, so now we know we hide the outliner. We're going to be using the outliner in organizing our files. We are definitely going to organize everything we are going to model here. It's not just model and leave it that way, because this is going to be our final product in this course. We are going to model it, we are going to texture it, and we're also going to light and render it. So you just need to keep all this in mind. So we're just going to hide the outliner for now and focus on modeling. Of course, this is like a square, but not really a square. So what we are going to start with, it's a cube. So we're going to shift right click inside a cube. Here on R, we're going to scale this up. Here on W, we're going to drag this up to the grid. Yeah, I did not show you something called snapping, and that is also necessary when you are working. So now let's assume we take this up. If you hold down X on your keyboard and click this, it is going to snap to grid just like that for you. Now, because of this is up here, we can't really snap it to the grid itself because it is going down. So what we are going to do to fix this is to just hit on D to go into the pivot mode. While in the pivot mode, we hit on X to go into the snapping mode. We middle mouse click and drag this, and now it is not snapping, so make use of V and middle mouse click. Now you can see it is snapping to points just like this. So now we're going to drop this here and hit on D to go out of the edit pivot mode. Now we can hold on X and just bring it down, and now you can see that it has snapped to the bottom part of the grid perfectly. So now we can just select the pivot, or we can just go to center pivot from here. So depending on how you want to do it, you can hit on V to go into the pivot mode. Again, just right click and hold down the right click and hit on reset pivot. It is going to take the pivot to the center part of your model or your object, and now hit on D to go out of the pivot mode. So we need to scale this along the X axis. So we need to hit on R, and we're going to scale this along the X axis, and we also need to scale this along the Y axis. But because we have placed this on the top of our grid, we are not going to scale it along the Y axis. So let's scale this along the X axis, the Z axis, just like this. Now what we are going to do for the Y axis is to right click and go into the face mode, select this face, hit on W, and we're going to take it up just like this. I don't think we need something big, and you can just, let's just go into the object mode and scale from here, and I think this is fine. We can work with this. Now we need to create and open it just like this. So to do that, we need to right click and go into the face mode. We're going to select this face, hold on shift, select this face and this face, then we're going to hit on control and delete. Now you can see that we have this issue here. Yeah, it is common in Maya. The reason it's that I'm not going to explain this for things not to get weird for you guys. I'm just going to keep it that way without the explanation. So we have two ways of fixing this. You can just right click, go into the object mode, and you go all the way up to mesh display, and hit on reverse, and it is going to reverse it. Now the black will go this side. You can't get rid of this black, so you can do it that way. And another way you are going to do it, which is what we are going to do, is to right click, go into the object mode, select the object, hit on Control E to extrude, and from here you can increase the thickness depending on how you want the thickness to be. And of course we are definitely going to do this, but I don't think we have to take it outside. We are going to bring it inward just like this, but we have this issue, so we're going to take it outward and then snap it to the grid like what we did before. So this is what we have in, this is the exact thing we have right here. Now we can do that now, or we can wait, and of course I am going to wait for that. I'm going to do it later because I need to add just the cut for the window here before we proceed with every other thing, so we can do this later. So what I'm going to do now is just to select this object and go to mesh display and hit on reverse, and that is what I'm going to do for now. So I'm going to leave it this way. So this is just how you can create a basic of just the shape of the house itself. In the next lesson we are going to go into details and start modeling seriously. So the first thing we are going to work on is the window, so that we'll be able to extrude this so that we'll be able to extrude the house properly and make it look like what we have in the reference. See you guys in the next lesson. Now we're going to start with the window. Now when you look at the window here, we have something like this, but what I'm going to do is just to cut out the shape of the window and just add this in the middle, and we can work with that. So I'm just going to keep it this way. So now what you want to do is to go into your model. Of course, this pivot is in the center. Yeah, we just center the pivot. Doesn't really matter though. But now we're going to make use of the insert edge loop tool here. So we're going to shift right click, insert edge loop tool, and click here. And we're going to enable multiple edge loop tool. We just go to this edge here and just click to add two edges. Now we can reset this to close it, hit on W to go out of the insert edge loop tool. Now looking at this window, it's a little bit wider than what we have here. And on the other hand, I think, let's go into the object mode. I think we can scale this up a bit. I think like this, it's just really fine, and scale it on the Z axis again. So I think, yeah, this is fine. We can work with this. But if we cut the window, we're going to have curtain half here and curtain half here. Maybe we can make the curtain cover some part of the window, just like what we have here, or we can just work with this. But anyway, let's keep going. Okay, so now we have this, but you can see now that the window is not starting from the top down to the bottom, which simply means we need to insert another edge loop. So now before we do that, we need to stretch the top of our fences or the room itself. So we'll go into the edge mode, select this edge, hold and shift. We don't need to go around to click everything, because if we do, it's going to select everything for double click. So we're going to select this one, hold and shift, select others. Let's zoom out, hit on W, and just stretch this up a little bit. Now what we're going to do is to insert an edge loop going around this part of the fence or the wall. Now we're going to shift right click again, go into the insert edge loop to keep in mind that we are in the edge mode. That's why when we shift right click, we can select the edge loop tool from here. But if you are in the object mode, when you shift right click, you select the edge loop tool from here. So keep that in mind so that you don't get confused halfway. Now we go into multiple edge loop, which is 2, and we're going to click here to insert 2 edge. Now we can hit on reset tool and close it. But now looking at this, you can see that it's in the bottom. So the first thing we need to do is to hit on W, and we're going to move this up to this part here. And it's a little bit small. We need the window to belong. So we're going to hit on, we're just going to, let's take this up again a bit. Now we're just going to double click on this one to select the loop round, and we're going to move this downward just like this. And I think this is not going down that much, and because we're going to have something like this, so this shouldn't be down the way it is. So now what we are going to do is to select this loop and select this, and select this loop. We don't need to select that, so let's select this one, this and this, and now we can just stretch it up a bit so that we can create more space there. Now we can double click on this loop, drag it up a bit just like that. Now select this, we're going to select this loop and select this loop, hit on R, and we're going to scale it out to add a little bit of width to the window. Okay, now that is fine. So what we need to do is to insert a hole here to create the window. So we right click and go into the face mode from here. Now we can select this face. I know when you select this face, you can just hit on delete to delete that face. But of course, it's not really going to make any sense here. When we go into the smooth mode, it's not really going to be balanced here because there is no proper holding edge there. So the first thing we need to do is to make sure we have an holding edge there before we can delete that face. So to do that, we need to select this face, hit on Ctrl E to extrude. Now we'll hit on Ctrl E to extrude. We just come down to this part that says offset. Let's rotate this to the front of the camera so that we can see. Go to the offset and just offset this inward a little bit. Now, depending on how you want to offset this, if this is going too far, so that Ctrl and Shift to go gradually, or you can just reduce this ellipse from here and you can go gradually. So I think I might go inward again, just like this. So this is fine. Now I can go ahead and delete. I am supposed to extrude this part inward, but because we are going to extrude the whole shape itself, we don't need to extrude this part inward. But normally you can just hit on G to repeat the last command you give to Maya, which is the extrude. Now we can just take this inward from here and extrude it, but I'm not going to do that. But we can see if we extrude this, if we have any issue, we are going to fix this. So now we can just undo that extrude and click off, just to be sure we have only one face there. Let's just drag this out and see we have only one face there. Now we can just hit on Ctrl plus delete to delete that face. We don't need it now. We've created that hole. The only thing we need now is to create this demarcation in the middle. But before we do that, we need to right click, go into the object mode. Now we have our object selected. We're going to hit on Ctrl E to extrude, and now we'll go for the thickness. We'll now Ctrl and now we're going to bring the thickness inward. I think just like this. This should be fine. Yeah, this should be fine. Now we can click off. Now the next thing we need to do, okay, you can see that this gives us what we wanted to extrude at first there. So what we need to do is to come back here and clean this place. Okay, we're going to leave it this way because it is still a window, so we're going to leave it that way. Now we just need to create this middle demarcation we have here. So now you can just right click, go into the object mode, make sure that you don't have your object selected, click off, shift right click and create a cube. And we can't see that cube because it is below our object. So now let's just push this way, hit on R. We're going to scale this from the X axis and also scale it from the Y axis. I think we need to make it big a little bit. So let's hit on W and go into the front view from here. Let's zoom out, and we just want to make sure that this is aligned properly. Of course, it is in the middle. Now we can just hit on spacebar again and go into the perspective mode. So let's try to align this properly. So we scale this that way. Let's make it big a bit. So I think this is fine. We can hit on W and then we can push it inward just like this. Now we're going to bring this down here. Now we're supposed to hit on R and scale it, but it is going to scale it from both axes, which is the up and down. So we don't want it that way. What we are going to do is to right click, go into the face mode, select this face, hit on W and just drag this up just like this. Now we can right click, go into object mode and click off. Now we have that proper demarcation we have here, which is really looking good. But now there's something we need to do. If we select this and we go into the object mode and we hit on 3 to go into the subd mode, you can see what we are having here. This is not really making any sense. So the same thing is going to happen when we select this one. So what we are going to do now, normally we are supposed to start adding multiple divisions and so on because we have all this here. So what we are going to do now is just to bevel this. So we'll go into the object mode, hit on Ctrl B to bevel, and we're going to turn off chamfer just like that. And now we can just click off, right click, go back into the object mode, hit on 3 to go into the subd mode. Now you can see what we have here. Everything is really looking good. Normally, yeah, this is also a clean topology, but we're supposed to have more of this, but I don't mind. I think I can work with this. This is looking good. Now we're going to select this one here, hit on Ctrl B to bevel, turn off the chamfer and click off. Now we can select that again. We can right click, can shift right click, insert edge loop 2. So I think I'm going to insert 4 edges in the middle, or maybe just 2. So let's go here. I think 4 will be fine, so that it's going to be 6. So I'm just going to click here to add 4 in the middle. When we set it to hit on close, hit on W to go out of the insert edge loop 2, hit on 3 to go into the smooth preview, right click, go into the object mode, click off, and this is looking good. Now everything is looking good, nice and accurate. If you want to see your wireframe, you can just click here to turn on wireframe on shaded. As I have this wireframe, I'm not really liking this because it's not really okay for me, but I think I like that, but it's fine. We're going to leave it that way. Now looking at all this, I really don't like these lines that I have here. It's not really straight. It's not really straight. Well, I'm going to keep that, just make it to be simple for you guys. Then we can just flow out with everything later on. We're just going to leave it that way so that we can continue. Now, if you look at this line, it's a little bit jagged, looking like it's squeezed or whatever it is. We need to turn on anti-aliasing. This particular lines irritates me a lot in Maya. So what I'm going to do is to go over to the top here and turn on anti-aliasing. And now you can see that lines are very smooth. Having that kind of line irritates me a lot. Now, for you to remind yourself that you are in a smooth preview, you can just keep this so that it is going to give you this kind of positive vibes for you to continue working. Just go into the smooth preview. When you see how clean your wireframe is looking, it is going to give you this positive vibe to keep going and keep going. Yeah. So that is it for this lesson. And the next lesson, we are going to proceed to making the desk and the bookshelf we have here. See you guys in the next lesson. In this lesson, we are going to model the curtain. So the first thing we need to do is to select all these objects we have here. Make sure that we are in the channel box. Come down to this part that says layers, and we're going to create layer from selected. So let's click on that. Now, once you've done that, you can just double click and name the layer. So I'm going to name the layer to wall and hit on save. So from here, you can make this visible. You can also lock this from here. So we're going to set that to reference. We won't be able to click on it anymore. So I'm just going to hide this from here. Now we need to create the curtain, and we're going to be making use of a curve to create this curtain. So first we're going to hit on spacebar and go into the top view so that we can really see what we are doing. Now we'll go to create and we'll go to curves, and we're going to make use of the CV curve too from here. Now you can just click and create the curves you want to create. So I think this is fine for the kind of curtain we want to create. So now once you're done with it, just hit on enter, and that is going to activate the curves for you. Now you need to right click and go to control vertex. So from here, you can adjust the curves to what you want. So I'm going to make use of this line to adjust mine. So I'm going to put this here. So I'm going to select this and then put this here. So for this, I'm going to move it back here. So I'm going to grab all these and move them here. And I'm going to select this and maybe drag this down. This should come down. I'm going to select both and drag it here. Select this one, select this one, and bring it down. So I'm going to select this and drag it here. Okay, this here. Select this, bring it here. Now we can use of the square in the middle because it is going to be easy for me to just use it and do the moving. And aside from that, I'm using it because I am working on just one particular view. So it's just going to be focused for me while I work. It's just going to focus only on it's just going to focus only on the top view and nothing else. Okay, this this is fine. I can work with this. So now we can just go into the object mode, hit on spacebar and go into perspective mode, and we're going to drag this up. Let's review this. Now we're going to drag this up here. So just going to move this here. So I think, all right, now we're going to let's stick it up. Yeah, to somewhere around here, and we're going to move this to this part. Yes, I think we might want to scale this. Yeah, I think this is absolutely fine. So let's look at our reference. It's covering the window a little, so we can just move this here, hit on R, and let's do scale this down. Yeah, this is fine. We can work with this now. So we're on W and bring this back. Now we're going to clone this, going to hold and shift and drag this down to this bottom part here. Okay, now you're going to select both of them. Make sure you have both of them selected. Select the first one, hold and shift, select the second one, and now you want to go to surface and click on loft. And when you do that, you can see that it is going to create this for you. But we have a little bit of an issue. We did something wrong. So let's undo that clone we did. So let's shift this back. I want this to be the back and I want this to be the front. So I'm going to rotate. When you rotate this 90 degree, you can see that from here. It's going 180 degree, sorry, not 90 degree, 180 degree. I'm going to move it here. Let's just try to align it again. Just like that. We can align that when we work on that. So now we're going to clone and bring it down here. This is fine. Now we select both of them and we'll go to surface and then loft. So now once we do this, you can see what we have. You can see that here it's supposed to be white or the same color with this, and it is here. The normal way of doing it, it's by going over to surface and merge display and reverse it, or you can go to lighting and use two side lighting and you're going to get it on both sides. But this is just like a cheat which you want to avoid. So with the mesh selected or with the curve selected, or we can go to curves and let's see if we have that here. No. Okay, you can see it now. You can do a reverse direction and we have it here. All right, now if you are working with mesh, you go to mesh and mesh display and hit on reverse. That is when it is going to reverse if you are working with mesh. But with curves, you go to curves and hit on reverse direction. And now we're going to hold down shift and clone this. Okay, so we have the curtain on both sides. So now we've placed the curtains. It is time for us to just place what we are going to. So I think first of all, I'm going to select this and delete that. Let me select this, hit on R and scale it down a bit so that it's going to be small. Now we can hit on W and shift this back. Okay, now we need to create the pole and we're just going to make use of a cube to do the pole. Now we're going to shift right click inside a cube, drag this up all the way to this part here, and we're going to bring it back just like this. Hit on R and we're going to scale it down at the X and the Y axis. We're just going to keep this way. We're not going to do anything crazy here. So I think looking at our reference, it passed it a little bit. All right, now hit on and we take this up and just make sure this is attached to the wall. And this is awesome. We can select this and push this backward, and let's be sure it's not entering the wall. All right, this is fine. This is fine. Now we're going to select this and duplicate this. We're going to put it here just to cover the window a little. All right, this is looking good. It's looking really awesome. Now we're going to select this, hit on Control B to bevel, turn off the chamfer, and now we're going to select this. Just go into the object mode, shift right click, insert edge loop 2 and multiple edge loops. So we're going to insert 6 here. We're going to insert 6 edges and we're going to click and add that there. Reset to close it on W to go out of the insert edge loop 2. Okay, now we can click off, go into the object mode and hit on 3 to go into the smooth preview. Awesome. This is looking good. So we're done with the curtain. We can now from here and also select this one, select this one and this one. We can come down here again, create layers from selected. We're going to double click and name this to curtain. It depends. You don't really have to do this, but we're just using it to do it so that we can easily hide something from here instead of making use of the default way of hiding in Maya by pressing H to hide. So we have the curtain and we have the wall here. In the next lesson, we're going to start working on the furniture. So we start with this shelf here and proceed to other things. So by now, I hope you have something like this, and don't forget to save your progress. I already saved, but if you have not, just go to File and save scene as. If you've saved the scene, if you've not saved the scene before, make use of save scene. And if you're trying to save another version of the scene, you can hit on save scene as. That is if you want to manually name it yourself. But if you want to do a gradual process, like you want to have a saved version of the walls and the curtains, you just go to increment and save. When you do increment and save, the next thing you are working on, maybe you work on the furnitures and you hit on save, you can go back to the previous version where you just have only the curtain and the walls itself. So that is how you can save in Maya. In the next lesson, we're going to start working on the furnitures. See you guys in the next lesson. In this lesson, we are going to start working on the furniture. We're going to start with the shelves, then come down to the desk here. Okay, this is just very simple, but we need to do some calculations before we go ahead and start the modeling. So we need to first of all understand that these walls, these shelves, they just can't be placed on the wall just like that. There's definitely something that is holding them, but we just can't see it from here. So what we are going to do is to right click and add a cube. We're going to drag this cube up and we're going to hit on arrow. We're going to scale this down, scale this along the y axis just a little, and we're going to drag this to this part here. And this is too big though, but we're going to reduce it. So we're going to hit on R and we're going to scale this down again. So we have two um two woods there as the shelf. So we hit on W and we're going to move this here. All right, just on the wall. Now here on R and we're going to scale this up. So we can see we have one here and we have the second one here, or maybe we can scale it up a bit. Now we're going to hit on W and we're going to take this up just like this. And I think we can scale this down just a little. Yeah, we can scale this down a little. Right now we're going to make a duplicate of this, hold on shift and clone this. We're going to select this, hit on Control B and turn off chamfer. Shift right click, insert edge loop 2, and this we're just going to insert 4 here. Reset to, hit on W, shift right click object mode, hit on 3 to go into the smooth preview, and this is looking good. So now we're going to clone this. We don't need to clone again, it's just this one. So we're going to hit on R and we're going to scale this down. Yeah, just like that. And we're going to hit on E and rotate. Don't forget to, if it's not working, when you hold down J, just release everything, hold down J again and try to rotate for it to snap into position. So it's -90. So we're going to hit on W and then try to align this together. Now we're going to hit on R and try to scale this down. W and put it here. R, we're going to scale this down. W and put this here. And we're going to bring it upward just a little bit. I think we're going to bring it upward just like this. Now we're going to hit on B, Control B to bevel, turn off the chamfer. Shift right click, insert edge loop 2, and this we're just going to insert 2 here so that we have 4. Reset to close, hit on 3 to go into the smooth preview, hit on W, with the object mode, and let's click off. So this is, I think we need to push this in just a little bit. Now this, it's not really okay, but as long as it's below an object, we can put it in this way. So now we're going to hold on shift and clone this down to this part here. Or maybe let's shift this down and let's shift this inward like this. Let's just see. Now we're going to shift right click and create a cube. We're going to drag the cube up. Here on R, scale it along the Y axis, scale it along the Z axis, and scale it along the x-axis as well. But before we proceed, we're going to select this and this, hit on W. We're going to clone this and move it to this part here. All right, let's bring it out. All right, this is fine. Now we can select this and move this to this part here, and just make sure it is relaxing. And now you can see that this is way too small, but yeah, it can hold it. Yeah, we're just going to work with that. Of course it can. All right, and I think maybe we can make this a little bit bigger to just cover the top. No, that's fine. We can leave it this way. Okay, this is fine. Now we can hit on Control B to bevel, turn off the chamfer, shift right click inside edge loop 2, and this time I think, yeah, 6 works well for this. So I'm going to six, and then we click here to add 6. And for this, I'm going to add alongside in the middle. So I'm going to set this to 2 and add 2 in the middle. I will hit on reset and close. Just keep in mind, all these are not necessary as long as you have beveled the edge. And when you go into the smooth preview, you're not going to lose the edges. That is what matters a lot. So now we can shift right, just right click, go into object mode, hit on 3 to go into the smooth preview. And yeah, this is looking good. So we need to bring this down a bit. All right, now we can just select this, duplicate it, hold down shift and clone it, then bring this down and then try to make it lap. All right, so now we have the shelf. If you don't want to, you can just delete all these here, but I think they are necessary for us to have something like that. So now we're going to make this. So what we are going to do is just to make one of these and duplicate it into the other part. Now this is a little bit tricky, but it is easy to work on. So we're going to shift right click inside a cube, and then we're going to scale this up first. Now scale this on the x-axis, scale on the y-axis, but I think it's not that much. Let's hit on W, and then let's try to match this here. Okay, and I think this is too big, so then R, scale it on the x-axis and I guess on the y-axis as well. Now we can move this here and bring this down. I think they are all equal, but this and this, and I think we're going to scale this on the z-axis. Now let's hit on W and let's move this here. Okay, just for the measurement, nothing else. So now we're going to select this, and we need to create the drawer here. Okay, this is what we are going to do. We're going to select this, shift right click, go into the inside edge loop. So we have 3 here, which simply means we'll add in 2 edge loops. So we're going to have it 1, 2, 3 here. Reset and hit on W to go out. Now we're going to right click, go into the face mode. We're going to select the 3 faces by holding down shift. We're going to hit on Control E to extrude, but now we're going to offset. We're going to hold on shift and Control to offset this face, but you can see now that it is not giving us what we want. It's supposed to offset differently. We're supposed to get a line here, but we only get here, here, and here. So what we're going to do, we come down to this part here that says keep faces together, and we're going to turn that off. And now this is what we are going to get, which is exactly what we want. Okay, now this is okay. For us to fix this or to make it look more like a desk, because the moment we go out of this and we go into the object mode and select, no one is going to know that this is a desk except we turn on the wireframe. So we need to go into the face mode, select these three faces, hit on Control E to extrude, and we're going to bring this out. And now we're going to hit on R and scale this down. It's not scaling on all axes, so we want this to scale on all axes. So I think we're just going to extrude. We're not going to scale. Let's just extrude. Yeah, that is fine. Now, if we click off, go into the object mode and click off, we can see that there is something there. So now we're going to select this, hit on Control B to bevel, turn off chamfer, and I think I might increase the fraction a bit. Now we can shift right click, go into the object mode, hit on 3 to go into the smooth preview. And this is looking okay. So we have the draw. If you wish, you can add a handle here. If you wish, you can just leave it that way. But I think adding a handle will be really better for this. So I think, yeah, let's add undo. All right, let's add a handle. Yeah, we can add a handle here. So we're going to create a cube and just drag this up and bring it here. All right, now we can bring this here and just take it up. Hit on R, we're going to scale this down and just scale it up, scale it down. And this is fine. So let's go to the side view here. And now we're going to use it to align it. So we're going to hit on W and just try to align this here. I think this is okay. Now we can go back into the perspective mode. Let's bring this inward just like this. Now we'll go into hold and shift and clone this. Hit on E to rotate. We're going to rotate and hold down J. This is snapping once. And now you can hit on R and scale these down just like that. Hit on W, move it back. And I'm just going to put that inside. It doesn't really matter. And I can shift this here. Hold on, shift and clone. All right, now I can adjust this. Okay, I think this is way too big. So we can just select this, this, and this. And now we can take this in. Of course, you can do better in terms of the arm, but this is just what I want. All right, now we can hit on Control B to bevel, turn off the chamfer, and I think it's only working on one. So we're going to undo that, hit on W and just shift this inward. Now we can select this, Control B, turn off chamfer, select this, Control B, turn off chamfer, select this, Control B, and turn off chamfer. I'm going to leave all this way. So now I can select all of them, hit on 3 to go into the smooth preview. Select this, hit on W and push it inward a little bit. All right, this is very fine. Now we can select this, hold and shift, select this one and this one, and now we can hit on Control G. I have this selected, so I'm just go back into Maya, select this, and this, and hit on Control G to group. I can see I have group 1, double click on the group and name that to handle, hit on enter. And for this, which is this one, we're just going to double click on it and name that to drawer, hit on enter, and this we're going to delete it. So let's select this handle, hit on W, hold on shift, clone this and bring this down, and hold on shift again and clone this just like that. Now we're going to select the handle. Now all the handles are inside. You can see that everything are inside, so you don't need to worry about anything. So now once you select this, you can select all the whole handle and hold down shift and select the draw, or you can hold down control and select the draw, hit on Control G and name that to draw, hit on enter. And now you can see that this is in the center, not in the middle here. So now we can just center the pivot. You can just freeze transformation, delete history, and we already center the pivot. Hold down shift and clone this to this part here. All right, and now this is okay. Now we can select one of these, hold down shift, clone it and bring it down. Just place it on top just like that. And this is small, so we're going to select this, hit on R and then scale it, hit on W and move this inside, can hit on R again and scale it. And I think this, let's scale it a bit. Let's move this out. I think this works, so we just need to bring it down a bit. All right, this works. This is what we are getting. So now Maya is beginning to slow down. So we have this. So now we're going to select this and name this to draw top. Hit on enter. Or when select all this, hit on Control G and name that to draw main. Hit on enter. And now we have this, and we can just delete the history, freeze transformation, and center the pivot. All right, now we can go to edit, delete all by type, and history to delete all the whole history in our scene. All right, now we're done with the shelves, with the shelf and the drawer itself. Now we need to model the other piece of furniture like this. What we are going to do is to select this. Let's just quickly make this one here out of this. So now we can duplicate this. Let's done this, and then this is okay. So now we can just drag this out of this drawer main and drop it here, so that, let's see, this won't be okay. We need the handle, so let's undo, let's bring it down. So I think this is the handle, so we're going to select this and this, not that. Okay, this is what we are going to do. Okay, we did not duplicate the handle as well, that's why. So we're going to undo that So we're going to select this drawer and duplicate everything. So have the drawer too. Now we're going to drag this out and drop it here. Now we can close this. You can double click on this and name this to drawer underscore window. Hit on enter. And now we can just hit on E, hold on J, and rotate this 90-degree. Can just hit on W and push this here. And we can drop it here. Is this properly sitting on the ground? Yeah, it is. We can just drop it there. Make a duplicate of one of these. Hold on, hit on E, hold on J, and rotate this 90-degree. Hit on W and bring this over here. Let's put this here. Let's bring this here. Hit on R. And we're going to scale this down just like that. Hit on W, bring this down, and scale it along the Z axis or the X axis. I can't tell. Yeah, scale it along the Z axis, not the X, sorry. Okay. This is fine, but I think we still need to take this up just a bit. All right. This is fine. We're done with the drawers. Now it is time for us to work on the chair and the remaining furniture before we go to the books, the flower, and the frames we have on the wall. So at this point now you can repeat the same thing we did. You can just select the drawers and select this one and control select this. Those are the drawers. This is the that, and let's select this one, this, 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 and then this, I guess. Okay, now we can come down here and create a layer from selection, and we can name this to drawer of furniture, and then save this, and now we can reference this. So now we can't click on this. Okay, hide and show. All right, we're making progress so far. We just have few things left to complete our room. So I'm going to see you guys in the next lesson, and most importantly, don't forget to save. In this lesson, we are going to model the chair. The chair is going to be a little bit tricky, but I'm just going to simplify this so that it's going to be easy for you to just follow along and not to get things too complicated, because if we try to make all these calls here, we're going to have issues with topology, and when you try fixing all those things, and this is not what you want to start going through at the beginning of learning Maya. So we're just going to skip that and make a very simplified check. Okay, so now we're going to start with the cube. Let's just drag this out and stay away from this for now. And I'm going on R, scale this up. So we're going to focus on the X axis first. So we're going to drag this up like this. And let's hit on W and bring this up here. So I think the chair is too tall. So we're going to bring this down and then smooth, take it, reduce that, and let's bring this down. I think just a little. That is okay. All right. This is okay. So what we are going to do now, so we're going to create this and this. Now we're going to insert an edge loop here. That is one. Okay, I think we're going to move that edge loop upward, just like this. Okay, now we're going to insert another one, but this time we're going to insert two multiple edge loops, two, and just click to add two here, reset and close. Now we're going to expand this with the two edge loops selected. We're going to hit on R to select the scale to. Now we can just scale these out just like this. Yeah, this works for the here. So now I think we can select this edge loop and just bring it up a little bit. Now we're going to add another edge loop at the bottom. So we shift right click inside edge loop 2 and add one here. We're going to make use of this to create the bottom of the chair. Okay. I think I'm going to drag this up a bit just like that. Yeah, this is fine. But I think this chair is still too big. So we'll go into the object mode, hit on R, and we're going to scale this down just like that. All right, now we're going to select, we'll go into the face mode. We're going to select this face, this face, this face, this face, and this face. We're going to hit on Control E to extrude, hit on W and extrude from the midpoint, which is this here. All right, this is fine. But I think our chair is too long, so I'm going to undo all this. I'll go into the object mode, select this, hit on E, hold on J, and rotate 90-degree. And I'm going to move this here. All right, this is way too big, so we're going to hit on R and scale this. And I think it is still too big, just like this. Okay, I'll hit on W, bring this down. This is absolutely fine, and then bring it outward. All right, now we can work with it. So we right click, go into the face mode, we select this face, this face, this face, this and this. Hit on Control E to extrude, hit on W and drag this down. So I think like this is really fine. We can work with this. This is fine. I think no. Let's undo. Let's bring it out more. All right. This is fine. Now we can right click, go into the object mode, hit on Control B to bevel. Let's turn off chamfer and reduce the fraction a bit. Now we can right click, go into the object mode, hit on 3, a smooth preview, and yeah, this is fine. We can work with this chair just like this. So let's do something a bit different. Let's look at adding, but I think let's hit on 1. Let's go back. I think we are going to also no, let's just hit on 3 and we can do it. Yeah, we can work with this first. Let me see. I'm just looking how we can do this. So we'll select this, hit on 1, go out, and I'm going to shift right click. I don't want to select the shift right click, select it, shift right click, go into the inside edge loop 2, and then I'm going to add one loop here. And we're going to the edge mode to just select this edge, undo, hit on W, select this edge, and I think I'm going to, okay, bring this up. No, let me undo this loop. Let's shift right click. It's at edge loop 2, multiple. Let's add 2. And I'm going on R and scale these out. And I will go into the face mode, select this face, hit on W, and just bring it up a bit. Now I'll go into the edge mode, select this edge, and just bring it up a little. And I think this one too as well. Not much here. All right, now I can shift right click, go into the object mode, and now hit on 3 to go into the smooth preview. And yeah, this is not flat as it is before, so we can just walk with this chair like this, and now we can close this. All right, now we're done with the chair. So this is how we can model the chair. If you want to add things like the top foam, you can just go ahead, make use of the cube, bevel the cube, and put it in there. But I'm okay with this. I don't think I want to add anything else. So in the next lesson, we're going to model the final furniture, which is this one here. See you guys in the next lesson. In this lesson, we are going to model the table, which is the last furniture remaining to model. This is a little bit tricky, but we're actually going to work on that. We're just going to be making use of one shape, which is cylinder. We're going to get every other thing out from here. And yeah, so let's get started. So we'll go into our viewport. We'll go into shift right click. Now this is supposed to be on this chair is supposed to be in the same layer with all this, so as this. So we're just going to wait and model this. So to get started, we're going to shift right click and add a cylinder, and we're going to hit on W and just take this out of where we have the grid, and we're going to focus on just the cylinder. You can hit F to frame the cylinder. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to delete the faces. So we're going to delete these top faces and the bottom faces. We currently don't need them. So now we'll go to our modeling toolkit from here, just to make sure. We're going to turn on camera based selection, and we're going to make our selection here. We'll go into the face mode and we're going to select this face. And another way you can select faces, if you can just another way you can select these faces without box selecting, it's by holding down tab on your keyboard, and you can just paint and select all the whole face. So we're going to repeat that for the bottom part here. We're going to hold down tab and paint all the whole face. Now we're going to hit on control and delete the face. Now we can right click, go into the edge mode, select this edge round. So I think I'm going to bring this down just a bit. Now I'm going to select this bottom part, hit on R, and I'm going to scale it out. We're going to leave it like this for now. No, I think we need an extra one. So we're going to, so with this selected, I'm going to hit on W and drag this up. Now when you look at this, you can see that it's a bit curved here. Now we're going to come back to that later. Okay, now this is also going inside. So what I'm going to do is to hit on Control E to extrude that edge. Now I'll go to the offset, and okay, now we'll go to the local translate Z, and we're going to take that inward, but we're having, this is not really what I want. It's not making any sense. So now I'm going to hit on R and scale this inward. So this is what I want. I want it to be like this. Now we're going to create this stand here. We're going to hit on G to repeat the last command we give to Maya. Hit on W, and we're going to drag this up. And here it's a little bit wider, but I'm not going to touch that. So now I'm just going to drag this up like this, just like this. Yeah. Now I'm going to hit on G to extrude, and I'm going to drag this up. I'm just going to take it up like this. And I think this is a bit long. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. This shouldn't be, at least just a little more than the handle of the chair. So I think let's go back into the object mode. Let's hit on W and take this to this part here. Let's drag it up and then bring it forward here. And let's drop it right here. All right, this is on the ground very well. Now we can select, go back into the edge mode. I just select this, drag this down. I think here is fine. We're going to select this and bring this down. Okay, now I think we're going to move this up, but let's select this and let's hit on R and scale this out just like this to get this bottom part from here. And now what we are going to do, let's scale this out more. We're going to hit on G to repeat the extrude, hit on R for the scale, and we're going to scale this out. I think we're going to scale it this way. Yeah, we're going to scale it out like just like this. All right, now we're going to hit on G, W, and we're going to bring this up just a bit. We'll bring this up like this. Yeah. And we're going to hit on G, R. We're going to bring this inward just like this. And we're going to, I guess we're going to lift this up just a bit. And now we're going to hit on G, R. We're going to offset this outward and hit on G, W, just a little like that. Now we're going to hit on G and R, and we're going to scale this inward just like this. Now we're going to create something like this here. So we're going to hit on G, R again, and we're going to scale this inward. Now we're going to come back to this part here. Now we're going to select this loop here, hit on Control B to bevel that loop, and we're going to decrease the fraction just like this. Yeah, something like this is fine for the fraction. Now we're going to use this to create this demarcation we have here, or wherever is that, Now we'll go into the face mode. We're going to select this first face, hold on Shift and double click to select the loop round. Now we're going to hit on Control E to extrude, but we're going to add a little offset to that. So we're going to offset this inward just to add a holding edge. Now we're going to hit on G, and then we're going to make use of the we're going to make use of the thickness. We're going to take it inward. So I think thickness of this is fine. Now we can go into the edge mode and go out of that. Now we can select this loop here and continue what we are doing. So we're going to hit on E, Control E, and hit on R. And we're going to scale this in once more. Now what we are going to do is to shift right click and we'll go to fill hole. When we do that, we're going to have this, but it's not filling properly. So what we're going to do, you have to option. So with this edge is selected, you can just shift right click, go to merge slash collapse edges. So when you click on that and you're going to see merge edges to center, and it is going to create something like this, but I don't like doing my models this way. So what we're going to do is to quad fill this hole manually. So we're going to grab the multi-chord tool from here, and now we're going to connect this one to this here. We're going to hit on enter. We're going to connect this one and connect this to this part here. We're going to hit on enter, connect this to this part here, hit on enter. Now we're going to skip this one and skip this one here. So we're going to select this one, hit on enter. We're going to select this one and this one, hit on enter, this one to this one, enter, this one to this one, enter, this one to this one, enter. Now if you look at this, you can see now that we have 1 2 3 4 vertex, which is quad, and we also have 1 2 3 4. Also have 1 2 3 4, which is really okay, and this is what we want. Now it is time for us to start adding some of the details to our table. So I'll go into the object mode. I'm just going to move this here, and I think this table is too big, but we're going to work with that. We're just going to work with that. We won't do anything much. So now I think I'm going to hold down, I'll go into the edge mode, select this loop and hold down shift and select this loop, hit on R, and I'm going to scale them in just like that. Let me undo, and I'm going to scale along the y-axis to make them balance again. Okay, so now this is what we are going to do. If you look at this part here, you can see that it is rounded, but ours is not rounded. So we're going to select that edge, that loop round, hit on Control B to bevel, and this time we're going to add segment of 3, and now we're going to reduce the fraction to something like this, and now we're going to get this kind of edge we have here. Now here we're going to do something like this, because if we right click now, go into the object mode, we're going to the smooth preview, we're going to have a wedge shape here, and we don't want something like that. So we're going to hit on 1 to go back into the normal mode. We'll go into the edge mode, select that loop, hit on Control B to bevel, turn off the chamfer, and we're going to reduce the fraction to something like this, so that we can create a holding edge there. Now when you look at this part, you can see that it is shooting out a little bit. So here we're going to shift right click and go into when select this, right click, edge mode, shift right click, and go into the insert edge loop tool from here. Now we're going to add an edge loop from here. Yeah, we set this to 2. Okay, we're going to hit on Control Z to undo that. Now I'm going to make use of the multi-chord tool, because let me select, go into the move tool, and now hit on, let's select the multi-chord tool from here. I thought I was making use of Maya 2026 because I set a hotkey for the multi-chord tool, which is M. That is why I'm doing that. Now I make use of multi-chord tool so that I will be able to add a loop exactly in the middle. So I'm going to hold down Control and middle mouse click. That was wrong. So I'm going to hold down Control. Let me zoom out. Hold down Control and middle mouse click to add a loop. Hit on W. I'm going to double click to select that loop round. Now I'm going to hit on R, and I'm going to scale this out a little bit. Okay, and now this part is curving into this top here. So we're going to select, but I think let's wait a bit first. Let me undo this and take away this edge loop. let me select this edge loop here. Hit on Control B to bevel, and let's see what we can do from there. Okay, no, it's not going to work. So let's just go back and select the multi-cut tool and insert an edge loop. This is crazy. Let's insert an edge loop there in the middle. I think my PC is slowing down a bit, so I'll go over to edit, delete all by type, and history. So I think this should fix the issue. So we're getting on W, select this loop, hit on R, and scale this out. Now we're going to select this, hit on Control B to bevel, just like that. Yeah, just like that, we're going to bevel that. Yeah, that is fine. Now we're going to select this as well. Hit on Control B to bevel so that we get this exact rounded shape here. And I'm going to leave this way. I think I'm going to reduce the fraction. So we just have two. So I think I'm going to add one segment and reduce the fraction just like this, and just try to even these out. Okay, that is fine. Now we can right click, go into the object mode, hit on 3 to go into the smooth mode. And yeah, this bottom is really looking good, and this top perfect. So far so good. I think I'm not going to add anything to this part. I like the top just the way it is. So let's come down to the bottom and work on the bottom. For mine, I want this to be a little bit rounded, so I'm going to select this edge, hit on Control B to bevel. So I think no, I'm going to turn off the chamfer so that it's going to be sharp, and I'm going to reduce the mid-shrink just like that. The line one that though, I'm going to hit on Control Z to undo that, hit on W, and I'm going to take this up a bit just to add a lot of interest there so that it won't just be flat. So I'm going to hit on Control B now, and let me decrease the fraction, and I think I'm going to add one segment there, and yeah, that is fine. Now that is fine. Now I'm going to select the multi-cut to come down to this part, add an edge loop there, hit on W, double click, hit on R, and I'm going to scale this out just like this, hit on Control B to bevel. And I think one segment should be fine, and I'm going to increase the fraction so that I can spread this evenly. Now we just go into the object mode, select this, hit on W, and just drag this up. Now going to the edge mode, select this edge, hit on Control E, R, and we're going to scale this in. You need to repeat the same command, scale this in. Now shift right click and then fill hole just like that. So I think we'll go into the object mode, W, and we're going to take this up very well so that we can see the bottom very well. So we're going to fill the hole. Now we're going to select the multi-cut tool, right click, select that and connect it to this, hit on enter. We're going to select this and connect this to this and connect it to this, skip one, come over to this part, connect it here, select this, connect it here, and enter. Select this, connect it here, select this, connect it here, select this and connect it here. Now there is a plugin you can use in Maya that can easily help you do this, which is the GN quad fill hole. I was making use of that for some time, and I guess something happened to Maya and I just stopped using it. It's a paid plugin though. I can go back and download that because I purchased it already. So now we can go into the object mode, hit on 3 to go into the smooth preview, and we have something nice, but I don't want this part to be rounded. So I'm going to hit on 1, shift right click and go into the edge mode. Double click to select this edge, hit on Control B, turn off the chamfer, and I can just reduce this a bit, just like this. I think that is fine. Now we're not going to talk about anything like topology here or trying to balance all this, so we can just go into the smooth preview and let's see the bottom part. Of course, this is really looking good. Normally I can just go in with the multi-chord tool and I'm going to insert an edge here, all these places here, so that it is really going to be balanced just like this. But this is really going to be too much, so I'm just going to undo this and let's just focus on what we are working on. So take away. All right, so I think that is what we have there. Now we can hit on W, and now we can just bring this object mode. We can just bring this here and take it down just like that. We can bring it closer to the chair and just push it here. Not that much, but just something like this. All right, now we can click off and see what we've done. And yeah, this is looking good, nice, and awesome. All right, everything is looking good. So this is how we can just model the table very quick and easy. Now it is time for us to start modeling the electronics. We're done with the furniture. So in the next lesson, we're going to start modeling the electronics. We're going to start with the, I guess we're going to start with the speaker and proceed to the TV, or we're going to start with the TV and proceed to the speaker, whichever one, but the electronics are what we are going to be modeling next. So sit tight, see you guys in the next lesson. Okay, first and first, don't always forget to save. Whenever you make a progress in Maya, you can go increment and save, but I'm not going to be doing any increment and save here. I'm just going to be doing everything save, and save. Where I'm going to be doing increment and save, it's when we get to the UV mapping stage. That is when I'm going to do the increment and save. Okay, so now it is time for us to model the electronics. I don't know what is this, by the way, and I can just skip that and just model the TV. I don't know, but I guess that is what I'm going to do. Okay, so let's take a look at the TV. Let's zoom in closely. Just a cube that is flat, rounded, offset inward, and that is it. So we're going to create a cube. Hit on R, and so bring it on R, and we're going to scale this down. Hit on W, push it forward, and bring it here. as the TV. All right, this is looking good. Now we're going to be having a little bit of a technical issue here when it comes to getting the exact shape of this TV. All right, so we're going to do it like this. Okay, now we can hit on Control B to bevel this, and then we go into the segment and we add, I think, okay, so let's increase the fraction. This is way too much, so I'm going to reduce the fraction to something like this. But now these edges are very sharp. They are very, very sharp. So we need to take a look at something here. Now let's go into the object mode and let's click off. Let's take a look at this. Now, I guess for the sake of this course, since it's a beginner lesson, I'm going to leave this way, and we're going to model TV to be a hard edge, and then we're going to undo this. But I think we need to get this done. Okay, so what we are going to do is to go into the edge mode, select this edge, and this edge. Now we're going to hit on Control B to bevel. We're going to reduce the fraction just like this, and we're going to add a segment. Let's say segment of, let's say 4. Yeah, a segment of 4 works well for this. Okay, now we can go into the object mode, but we have an issue now. All these edges are not connecting to anywhere. So let's hit on 3 to go into the smooth preview. Now you can see this, they are not connecting to anywhere. There are no holding edges or anything of such. So what we are going to do now is to connect this to each other. So we're going to bring this out. Now, first thing you need to keep in mind is that when you do this, you don't want to repeat this on the other side. So we'll go to symmetry and we're going to turn on object X. Of course, we are doing this on the X axis. Now, the reason why we turn object X instead of word X, it's because we move this away from the center of the word. It's no more in the middle of the grid. If I hit on Control 1 to isolate all this, you can see that this is not in the middle of the grid. So that is why we do that. So we're going to select the multi-chord 2, and if we select here, you can see that we can also select this part here. So we select this and we connect it to this one, hit on enter. We're going to select this and we're going to connect it to this one, hit on enter, and we're going to repeat the same here. We're going to select this, connect it to this one, enter, select this and connect it to this one and hit on enter. Now we're going to skip one, select this one here, and we're going to connect it to this one, hit on enter. We're going to select this one and also connect it to this one here, and we're going to repeat that for the bottom right here. So we're going to select this one, connect it to this one here, hit on enter. We're going to select this one and we're going to connect it to this one here and hit on enter. Of course, this is okay. It looks good. So now let us hit on W. Let's shift right click, go into the object mode, hit on 3 to go into the subdue mode. And now you can see what we have. Everything is really looking good, unlike what we have before. Okay, now we still need that tight edges here. You can see we're having all these issues. That is because we don't have enough loop going around these edges here. So now we can select the multi-cut tool, hold down Control. Because of the symmetry that's turned on, that's why we are having those two right there. So we're going to turn this off. And now we can hold down Control, add one here, come down to this part and add one here. And if you can add extra one, it is going to lock everything completely, but that is fine. Now we can just hit on 1 to go into the normal mode, hit on W. Now we need to create the inner part of the TV, but now the inner part also is rounded. That is rounded, so it's a little bit tricky, but what we are going to do now, let's select this face, hit on Ctrl E to extrude. Now we're going to offset this inward just a little, so I think like this is fine, just like that. Okay, this is good. Now we're going to offset this again. This should be the screen, so we're going to offset this again. No, we're not going to offset this. Let's just see. So now let's right click, go into the object mode, hit on 3 to go into the subdue mode, and now all that we've done has scattered completely. Wow. All right, so now we're going to hit on 1 to go into the normal mode. Everything here it's accurate. Now we can't connect this to this because we don't have, if we do this, it is going to give us this error here, so we don't want that. And okay, this is the error we are having. This loop did not go around completely. That is because, oh wow, that is because we have some issues. All right, now we're going to manually fix all this ourselves. That is why we are having a lot of trouble at that part there. So now we're going to force this loop there. Normally, I'm not supposed to be worrying about this. We're just trying to be perfect. So we're going to enter. And then I'm just going to do something rough, connect the trees together. And then I'm going to come to this part here. So I think this is going to be good to make use of. So let's hit on Control 1. No, let's hit on Control 1 to undo that. Let's hit on W and go into the object mode. Hit on Control 1. Hit on F to frame this so that we can really work with this. Now select the multi-cut tool. Select this part here. I really don't know why this did not connect though. I can't tell, so we're going to just connect it here. Hit on enter. We're just going to take this 3, connect it there, connect it here, and let's just connect it here. Hit on enter, and that is done. All right, now let's take a look at this part here. Okay, the mid part here it's connecting, but if you look at all this now, they are not straight. So what we are going to do is to hit on W, right click, go into the edge mode, double click and see if we have the whole loop selected. All right, we have the whole loop selected. We're just going to hit on R and we're going to scale along the x-axis, and now you can see everything is straight. So we're going to repeat the same here and scale along the x-axis. Everything, it's now straight. So we can try this again. Right click, object mode, hit on 3, and yeah, this part is looking good, so as this part. But the issue we are having here now is that we don't have holding edges here. All right, now we can hit on 1. So what we are just going to do is to shift right click inside edge loop 2, select the inside edge loop 2. Now we can just say 4, and we can add 4 here, 4 edge loops here. Now we can shift right click, go into the object mode, select it, hit on 3 to go into the smooth preview. Let's hit on W to go out of that. Now you can see this is coming close here. And let's go out of this. Let's select the multi-cut to hold down control. Let's add one here. Add here. Oh boy. Add here. Add here and add here. Go up here. Add there. Let's add one here. Add here. Add here. And then we can still increase this. And I think here, 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 and there. I think that is fine. So we have one in the middle, and we can shift all this, add one, 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 one. Okay, so we kind of escaped this, and take a look at this. This is looking good, and it is looking better than what we expected. So we can do a pen select, and we can just select all these here, and then I think we'll have accurate edges here. So we can do a pen select and just apply color to this part here, and let's hit on R, go into the object mode, and let's scale this down. Okay, so now we have the TV. Well, yeah, so we can hit on Control 1 to bring back everything. So this is a lot for just to get the TV alone. So I don't think so. We're going to assume this is hanging on the wall. I don't want to add anything to make it more complicated. So we're just going to assume that it is hanging on the wall. Now that is it for the TV. In the next lesson, we are going to model the speaker. See you guys in the next lesson. In this lesson, we are going to model the speaker. But before we do that, this TV, it's way too big. So I'm going to select that, hit on R, and I'm going to scale this down. Let's click off. This is better. So let's take this close to the wall. Just a little bit, bring it out a little bit. All right, this is fine. Now, what we are going to do is the speaker. So we're going to shift right click, add a cube. We're going to bring this cube up just like this. Now we're going to scale this on the y-axis, and I think a little bit on the x-axis because this is wide, just like this. Okay, now what is place around it, but I think we're going to round everything completely, or this is what we are going to do first. But let's take a look at it. So everything here around it. We don't want to go through the hassle we went through while trying to make the TV. So what we are going to do is to select this. Now what we just need is to create the face and all this. So now we're just going to select the multi-cut too. So we need to demarcate this. So we're going to put down control, and I think I'm not in the middle. Let me undo that. So I'm going to add one here so that we can have space for this and then this. Okay, now what we are going to do is to make this part of the speaker here, but let's take a look at it very well. All right, so we have one in the bottom, and we have this space here, and we have this space here. Okay, this is what we are going to do. Let's select the move to shift right click, go into the face mode, select this face, hit on Ctrl E to extrude, and we're going to offset inward. We're going to hold on Ctrl and Shift, and we're going to offset. I think we're going to do that 2 times. So this looks more like a square than what we have here. So I'm thinking it would be good if we add a loop cut here on the, let's just use it that way. So now I'm going to put the same thing. I'm going to hit G, and I'm going to offset just a bit. Now we're going to take a look at this, but I'm pretty sure we need to turn this to, we need to make this square for us to get something nice here. So I'm going to shift right click and come down to the part that says circularize component, and I'm going to click on that. Now come to this part here, and I'm going to add division so that we get a nice cycle here. And now we'll go to the normal, not that, so go to the radial offset, and we're going to reduce this. All right, now let's click off. So we've got this face here. This looks good, but let me undo that. Not really what I want. Let's deselect the face. Okay, let's offset this once inward. Now let's hit on G. Not that. Let's undo. Let's hit on Ctrl E to extrude, and we're going to offset this inward just like this. Now this face, we're going to shift right click and then circularize component. Now we're going to add divisions to this. So I think 1, 2, I think 2 divisions is okay. And now we're going to decrease the radial offset just like this, and we're going to play around with the twist. So I'm going to twist this so that it's going to match with this angle. So I'll still go back to the radial offset and bring it inward just a bit. So keep in mind the numbers of faces we have here. So we have the numbers of edges we have here. So let's hit on W to go out. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. Now we're going to repeat the same process here. So we're going to select this face, hit on Ctrl E, and we're going to offset inward. Doesn't have to be the same thing. And hit on G and offset once more. Now we're going to shift right click and then circularize component, but this did not circularize, so let's add divisions to this. So I think one, not one, so I think two work sources. It's actually going to be the same thing here. 1, 2, 2, yeah. And now the radial offsets, we're going to take this down just like this. And for the twist, we don't need to do anything on the twist. It's really okay. Everything is really looking good. Now we can click off and we're going to select this face. Hold on shift and select this face. Now we're going to hit on Ctrl E to extrude and take this inward just like that. Now we're going to hit on R to scale this, and we're going to scale it from the middle, but we have this error here, so we're going to undo that. So I'm just going to select this face, scale it from the middle just like that, and I'm going to select this one too, and also scale this from the middle. All right, now let's select this. Going to hit on Ctrl E to extrude, and I guess we're going to take this, we're going to offset this inward just a bit. I think this is fine. Yeah, this is fine. Now we're going to select these faces. Hold on shift, select all, hit on Ctrl E. Does that really, no, we're going to hit on Ctrl E, and we're going to offset these faces inward a little bit, and we're going to hit on G and take these faces inward just like this. Okay, that is looking good. Now we can repeat the same thing here. We're going to select this face, hit on G, hold on shift and Control, and offset this inward a little just like this. Now we're going to select this face, hold on shift, double click to select the loop, hit on G, and we're just going to offset a little and G, then take this inward just like this. All right, this is looking a bit okay. Now we're going to select this face. I'm going to create this, but I think, yeah, we need to create something like that. So we're going to hit on Ctrl E, offset this inward just like this, and we're going to hit on G again and just offset this in a little bit, and hit on G, repeat that one more time, and now we're going to hit on W and drag this face out just like that. And now we're going to repeat that same thing here. We're going to select this face, hit on Ctrl E, and offset this inward just like this, hit on G, and offset the face inward, not that much, hit on G again, and offset the face inward a little, hit on W, and then we bring this out just a little. Okay, now we need to fix all these. You can see they don't have any connecting edges here, so we need to fix all this. So now we are going to right click, go into the object mode, shift right click and select the inside edge loop tool and add a loop here. So we have 4, and that is not what we want. So we're going to hit on Control Z. Now we'll go into Shift right click inside Edge Loop to go to the option and reset this. So we need one loop here, another loop here. Now we need one loop here, one loop here, and that will work. And we're going to need one here and one here, and that is all. I can reset this to close it, hit on W, select the multi-chord tool. So we're going to connect this point to this point, 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 connect this to this, connect this to this, hit on enter. Now we're going to connect this point to this point, connect this point to this point, connect this point to this point, this to this, this to this, this to this, this to this, this to this. And now this is looking a bit okay and rough, but it is still looking good. All right, so I think we need to hit on enter there. Now we can hit on W and select the move to. So now we can go into the object mode. Let's hit on 3. Of course, this is really going to be a mess. Now we can just click off, and this is looking a little bit good, but we have weird things going on. So let's hit on 1. So first we'll go into the edge mode, select this loop round, hit on Control B to bevel. Now that part is supposed to be rounded, so we're going to add one segment to that, just like that, and we're not going to reduce anything. And we're going to double click to select here, hit on Control B, and add one segment to that as well. Now we're going to select this edge. We're going to double click to select the loop round. So we have, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Now we're going to hold on Shift, select the loop round, and we're going to select this. Double click to select this. Double click, and select this, double click and select this. Now we can hit on Control B to bevel, and we'll go into turn off chamfer. All right, this is looking good, but we have some errors that we really need to fix. We have some serious errors going on here. We're supposed to be having edge that comes through to this place here. So first we can right click, go into the object mode, hit on 3, and let's see. So now we can right click, just click off, and yeah, this is looking good, like a speaker. It is looking like a speaker, but we have just some issues, which is issues with the wireframe. You can leave this, you can just leave this way and proceed to other things. But let's hit on 1 to go back into the normal mode. So I think here we need to add a loop to balance that part there. And then here we need to do some connections, about just some connections here. But I think we're just going to leave this. I don't want to make things complicated for you guys. I don't want to make things really complicated, just like what we go through while modeling the TV. Okay, so let's insert edge loop here, and let's just add one here. Of course, that's going to be weird. So let's hit on 3. Let's select this, hit on 3, hit on W, and go. Let's select this, hit on 3. So we're going to remove those edges we added. Now we can work with the speaker this way. We can work with the speaker this way. This is okay. So now we're going to select the speaker, hit on E to rotate. Let's make sure we are in the object mode. So we're going to rotate this 90-degree. Hold on J and rotate this just like this. Hit on W and we can drag this here. And we can hold on Shift and clone this over to the other side. Just like that. And now we have the speaker here. So in the next lesson, we are going to, I think we're going to add this. Or we're going to consider that. But the next lesson, we're going to start adding other things in our scene. So see you guys in the next lesson. In this lesson, we are going to model this, wherever it is. I don't know if it's a cream, if it's a drink, or wherever it is. I don't know, but that is what we are going to model. So we're going to start with a cylinder. Hit on W, drag the cylinder up, and we're going to bring it here. Let's zoom in closely. Okay, so I think, let's see, let me go into the channel box, and let me leave that. Let me turn this off. Let me turn this off. I think I'm still going to turn this off. My Maya lags a little bit, and I don't know, maybe I need to optimize my PC though. There are some things I need to do to optimize the PC, but I've not done that, so I'm going to leave it that way. So now I'm going to just drag this up, hit on R. I'm going to scale this down, and I think something like this. But before we proceed, I have a cube, so let me just delete that. I don't need it. So now I'm going to select this. Maybe, no, I'm not going to turn on my wireframe. So I'm going to right click and go into the face mode, and I'm going to select, let's go back into the object mode. Let's select this, right click, go into face mode, select all that face, and control delete. And we're going to repeat the same here, control delete. And I'm just going to the object mode, hit on F to frame this. And I think I'm going to scale this down a bit. All right, now I will just go, this is way simple to model. So I'll just go into the edge mode, double click here. And then I'm just going to hit on W and drag this up. Let me zoom out more and let's see. Okay, that is small. There is nothing much to do here, so I'm just going to drag this up just like that. Now I'm going to hit on Control E to extrude, and I'm going to offset this. Okay, that is not offset, so we're going to make use of the local translate Z to take this inward. Now I'm supposed to do this just once, but I just want that I just want here to be very tight. So I'm going to hit on G to repeat it again. And this time I'm going to make use of offsets. All right, this is fine. And now I'm going to hit on G, hit on W, and drag this off. So I think, yeah, we can work with that. I'm just going to drag this off. And coming down to this part here, we're going to double click, hit on Ctrl E to extrude, hit on R, and we're going to scale inward. Hit on G again, hit on R, and we're going to scale inward. Now we're going to shift right click, and we're going to fill the hole for that. And yeah, this is fine. So I think I'm just going to select all these edges here. No, or maybe I will just go into the object mode, hit on R, and scale this up just a bit. Okay, this is fine. Now we're going to do something. You can see that this part is closed. We can just say, okay, we just close this top, and yeah, we're done with that. But I want to show you guys something, how you can easily do some things in Maya. So we can right click, go into the face mode. Now we're going to select this, hold and shift, double click to select the loop round, and we're going to shift right click and come down to the part that says duplicate face, and we're going to do that. And then we're just going to hit on W, right click, go back into the object mode, and just select that. And now it is selected. Let me undo. Let's select this. Let's be sure if, yeah, it is there, but we just can't select it. So I think we'll go into the outline now, which is the P cylinder here. We're going to click on that and we can select that. Now we're going to move this out. Not really, we're just going to bring this out. Now we're going to center the pivot and just delete the history. Okay, now what we are going to do is to make use of these faces with duplicates to create the top cover of the bottle. So we can just hit on R and just scale this a little bit so that it is going to be a little bit bigger than what we have at the top. You can scale, you can just leave it. So I'm just going to put this here. Now I'll go into the, let me bring this up a bit. All right, now we'll go into the edge mode, select these edges, make sure that it is above the main bottle itself. So I think I can just take this up one, just a little. Now I'm going to hit on Control E, hit on R. I'm going to offset inward, just like this. I'm going to hit on G to repeat the same command, and I'm going to take this inward, shift right click and fill hole. And this time we'll go into quad fill the hole. So we'll go into our modeling toolkit, select the multi-cut tool, and we're going to connect all these edges together. I want you to play around with the edges, with the way you connect them, just how you connect them, just play around with them. So I'm going to do something a little bit different from what I did before. So play around with the way you connect your edges, but just make sure they are quad. That is what you need to do. So I'm going to connect this and bam, that is it. So we're good here just a bit. And that is it. We don't need to do anything again. So now what we are going to do, let's hit on W. If we select this, go into the object mode and hit on 3 to go into the smooth preview. You can see what we have here, which is not really making any sense. So now we'll go into the edge mode. We're going to double click here. But first, let's go back into the object mode, select this object, and let's take it up so that we can see this part very well. So now we can just select this object, go into the edge mode. We have those edges selected. Now we can hold down shift and double click here to select the edges too. Now we're going to hit on Control B to bevel. Hold down Control and reduce the fraction very well. And let's turn off chamfer. We don't have any rounded edges here. So now we're going to reduce the fraction a little bit so that that place is going to the title very well. And I think this is fine. And we're going to repeat the same. We're supposed to just select everything at once. So let's just take note of what we did here, 0.042. So we're going to double click here, hit on Control B, turn off the chamfer, go over to this place and type in 0.042 and hit on enter. And yeah, this is very tight. Now we can right click, go into the object mode, hit on 3 to go into the smooth mode, and now you can see what we have here. But of course I need to tighten all these edges very well because this is spreading out here. So I'll select the multi-cut to hold down Control, add a loop in the middle, add one here, go up here, add one, and I think maybe I can push that up a bit. So let's add one here, add one here, add one here, and add one here. All right, this is fine. We can push that up a little bit, and look at this part. We did not quite fill the hole, so now I'll hit on 1 to go into the normal mode, and I'm just going to quad fill this hole quickly. All right, now we're done. We can hit on 3 to go into the smooth preview, and now you can see what we have here. So now we can hit on W to go out of the multi-cut to. Now we can right click, go into the object mode, bring down this object back, just drop it there. And I think maybe we can, no, we're just going to leave this way. We are not going to play around with the thickness. So now I'll go into the edge mode, select that edge which is already selected, hit on Control B, turn off the chamfer, and we're going to make use of the same value, which is 0.042. Hit on enter to tighten it. And now we can right click, go into the object mode, hit on 3 to go into the smooth preview, select the multi-cut to, and add some loop to tighten that edge very well. All right, so I think for this it's a little bit bigger, so let's put one here, one, and one. All right, now we can hit on W, go into the object mode and click off. Now let's just bring this down a bit so that it can lap there. All right, so we have this. We can select both of them. We can now just delete the history, freeze transformation, and center the pivot. Now we can just go out and select this group. Let's just quickly name this to whatever. Let's just say drink, and hit on enter. Now we can just repeat the same thing and then center the pivot. Now we can just drag this down and drop it here. We can click off. All right, that is a little bit small, so we select the group again, hit on R and scale this up a bit. W, drag this up, and let's put this at this edge here. So this is just whatever it is, I don't know. So what we are going to do is that the books we are going to model, we're going to pick one of those books and drop one here on the table and just leave the rest is. So we're almost done with our scene. Now, all these places here, we have all these, of course, I don't know what they are. We are going to try and just replace them with book. So let's go back into our channel box. Let's bring back everything in our scene. Let's click off and let's see. Okay, we have this here. So we're going to select this. Just hold on shift, clone, and take this to this part here. So we can just say, because we have different things there, we can just clone this, put one here, and clone this again and put one here. So we're just going to leave it that way there. Not like he's doing anything, but I don't just want to have only one there, because the fact is I don't know what is all this, so I'm just going to leave it. Now in the next lesson, we are going to model this flower and the vase. Of course, this is just like a sphere here. That is exactly what I see there, except for this one that has a little bit of a different shape. Now I really just don't know what to do about this or what to call this. I would have loved to model this because of this wire we have here, but I don't just know what is that, and I don't know what used to replicate that. Maybe in other tutorials we're going to cover how to model wires, and I guess that's just what we are going to do. So let's select this TV. We have this here, and I think, okay, we're going to do that before we start UV mapping. So let's just proceed to the next lesson, and don't forget to hit on Ctrl S to save. In the next lesson, we are going to model the flower and finally model the books, and then we can round up with our scene. And maybe I'm going to leave the rest to you guys to model. If you want to model the frame, go ahead and model the frame. If you want to do anything like the calendar, go ahead and do anything like the calendar. It's going to be up to you guys. I'm not going to touch everything, but we've covered the main aspect of this scene, which are a little bit complex to model. And to model the rest is like just the frame and the calendar. It's not going to take you that much of a time for you to model. So I'm going to leave all these things and just work on the others. So I'm going to see you guys in the next lesson. In this lesson, we are going to model the vase, and we're going to model, this is just a sphere, like I said in the previous lesson, and the only thing we have that's a little bit different is this one here. Okay, now take a look at our outliner. It is very messy, but before we start the remapping, we are going to make sure that we that we'll first of all organize everything before we start UV mapping, so that we don't have a messy outliner here. Okay, so let's work on this. So the first thing we're going to do is to model the vase, and of course you might have guessed it, we're going to start with a cube. So we're going to shift right click, insert, not a cube, cylinder. We're going to insert a cylinder, and we're going to drag this up, hit on F to frame this in, and now we're going to now we're going to right click and go into the face mode and just select this. And now we can also go down shift and select this bottom one at once without worrying about selecting the other side. So we're going to hit on Control Delete. Normally let me quickly touch something here so that you guys can understand. Now, if you are modeling this vase, something like this or whatever it is, maybe a bucket or what, not much that you have to delete the bottom faces. You can just make use of the bottom faces that way, but I just like quad filling the holes, or just quad filling or making the faces a quad at the bottom part. That is why I always delete it. It's not fun, but I just like it that way. It's just like the kind of way I model. Of course, I'm still getting to understand some things in Maya, but that is just the way I like modeling. So there is nothing wrong for you to just leave it that way, the way just to leave it this way it is and continue modeling. Of course, nothing is really going to be wrong here. When you just add holding edges to the bottom part here, you are good to go. You can just leave it this way. But for me, I just like doing mine that way. So that is just the reason. So I'm just going to delete this. And then I'm go into the edge mode. Just select only this bottom edge. Hit on R, and I'm going to scale this down. Select this part here. Hit on W and bring this down. And we have something like I don't know, but it just feels like it's coming out from there. So we're going to hit on Control E and R, and we're going to scale this out just a little. Hit on G, W, and drag this up. Okay, now, if you are completely beginner into modeling, and especially in Maya, you might be wondering why if I hit on Control E to extrude, I can just hit on W and use it to drag that up. Why not just, if I hit on Control E, I just use this to drag it up? Why am I doing that? So let me quickly explain that to you. The moment you hit on Control E, you have already created that extrusion. The extrusion is there. It's just for you to make that extrusion show, or to drag that faces or the edges to the particular level you want it. So now that I have hit on Control E, the face is there. Those edges are there now, but you can't see them because they are attached to the previous edges that I have selected, which is the ones you can see that are highlighted in orange. So the moment I hit on W now and I drag this up, you can see that I have this one and I have this one. So it's not like I am using this to extrude. I have already completed the extrusion. It's just for me to make all these faces visible, or try to take them to the height I want them to be. So that is the reason why I always make use of that method. It's not like there is something new or something different or like something specific. I just like making use of the move tool to just drag up my extrusion. That is it. But feel free to do anything you like, as long as you extrude or as long as you model in Maya. That is the point of everything. So I'm just going to undo and just drag this up, I think somewhere around here. But this verse is a bit long than what we have, so I'm just going to double click on this edge, hit on R, scale this up, and hit on W and drag this down, and I think this is fine. So now I'm going to hit on G, R, and scale this inward. One more G, R, and I'm going to scale this inward. Shift right click, fill hole, modeling toolkit, multi-cut tool, and we're going to select this, connect it, hit on W, hit on enter, connect, enter, connect and enter, enter, enter. So we're going to connect this to this, this to this, this to this, hit and enter. So I guess we're done there. Now we'll go into the object mode, hit on W, and we're going to hit on Control E to extrude this face, and we're going to increase, we're going to work with the thickness, and we're just going to make this a little bit bigger. I think, yeah, this is fine. We can work with this. All right, now that is fine. We can go into the object mode. So what we are going to do now is to shift right click, no, not shift right click, go into the edge mode, double click to select that edge, select this one, this one, select this one, come outside here, select this, and this. And of course, you might have guessed it, bevel, turn off chamfer, and that is it. So we're on Control B, turn off the chamfer, and I think the fraction, it's okay. I'm not going to do anything to the fraction. Now we can go into the object mode, hit on 3 to go into the smooth preview. Now just click off, and yeah, you can see that we have the vase looking good. All right, now we just need to add some cuts here. So we select the multi-cut to hold on Control, add in the middle one here, and we're going to add one here. All right, we're done with this, and then we're going to do that here too as well. One here and one here. All right, everything is looking good. Now we can hit on W to go out of the multi-cut tool. Now we're going to select this, right click, go into the object mode. Let's just go to edit, delete all by type, and then history, and just going to shift this over to this part here. So let's bring this reference down. I think it's interfering a little bit. So we're going to drag this here, take this up, bring it here, drop it here, hit on R, and we're going to scale this down. Hit on W, and we're going to bring this here. And this, yeah, let's just bring it up. All right, R, and scale this down. W, bring this down. Now, before we do anything, let's just make a clone of this and drop it there. Okay, now we're going to shift right click, not shift right click. We're going to, I did something. All right, now we're going to just get into the object mode, click off, right shift right click, and add a cube. Now we're going to add a cube. Hit on W, and we're going to drag this up. We're going to come down to this part here. And now we're going to shift right click and come down to smooth. And we're going to add division. I think just 3 of it. Two is fine. Now we're going to use that to create this. Now if you hit on 3 to go into the smooth preview, you can see how smooth it is looking. Now we're going to drag this, hit on W, bring this here and take it up. It depends on you. If you want to make use of a normal sphere, just go ahead and do that. But I don't want to have issues while UV mapping. That is why I am doing something like this. I'm going to scale this up and just try to align this properly. Hit on R, and we're going to scale that up. I just zoomed out. Let's hit on F, W, and let's pull this backward. So let's try to play with the top from here. Okay, now we can hit on R and scale this just like that. All right, now it feels like the flower is still on the vase, so we're going to drag this up, hit on R, and let's just scale this up. And I think drag it up a bit. R, scale this up. Not that much. I think something like this will do. All right, now we can zoom out, click off, and now we have the flower there. All right, now we're going to work on this, and of course we're going to make use of the same, we're going to make use of cylinder, and then we can just let's just keep this here for now. So we're going to shift right click and add a cylinder. Yeah, we're going to add a cylinder. Click and drag this up. Hit on F to frame this. Right click, go into face mode, select this and select this face, delete it. Now we're just going to select this edge and drag this down a bit, not that much. I think we're just going to take this up just like this. All right, we're going to hit on R and we're going to scale this inward. All right, so here we'll come back to this part here. So we're going to select the multi-chord to add a loop here. Hit on W, double click to select that loop, hit on R, and we're going to scale. Okay, to make something round is going to be a little bit tricky, but we're just going to do that. And then select the multi-chord to again, add a loop there, hit on W, you can select this, hit on R, and we're going to scale this inward just like this. Now don't worry, we're coming back. So now we're going to hit on Control E and hit on W. We're going to bring this down a bit, hit on R, and we're going to scale this down. Hit on G, W, bring it down, R, and scale it inward just like that. Now we're going to shift right click and then fill hole quickly. We're going to quite fill this hole. Make sure not to make mistake like I do. So let's undo that. Make sure that you see the red before you click and connect. All right. Now we're going to come down to this part here, hit on W, select this loop round. All right. Now we're going to hit on Control B to bevel. Now we need it to be very round. So I think we're going to add segment just like that. Okay. Now that is fine. We can click off. Let's see, maybe we can increase the fraction. Yeah, just like that. Now we're going to select the multi-cut to add a loop here. Hit on W, double click on it, hit on R, and we're going to scale this out. Hit on W and just bring it down a bit. Okay, that is looking a bit better. Now we're going to double click on this loop. We're going to drag this up just like this. I'm going to hit on Control B to bevel that, and we're going to add one segment, and this is accurate. We're going to leave it this way. Now we're going to select this top edge. We're going to hit on Control E, and we're going to hit on R. We're going to scale this inward. Hit on W. We're going to drag this up. Hit on G, R, scale this inward just like this. Hit on W, and we're going to take that off and repeat the same process. R, scale in R, E, W, and drag that up. G, R, scale this inward very well. W, drag this up. And I don't just want, because I'm going to repeat that. R, just go in very well. W, drag it up just a bit. So I think, yeah, like this, like this, like this is fine. Shift right click, fill hole, and grab the multi-cuts to connect this to this. Hit on enter, connect this to this, enter. That's wrong. So we're going to connect this to this. Hit on enter, connect this to this, enter, this to this, enter, this to this, this to this. So here to here to here and here. All right, awesome. Now this is looking good. We can hit on W, right click, go into the object mode, hit on 3 to go into the smooth preview, and yeah, we're having something good, but not as good as what it's supposed to be. So let's hit on 1. Now we're going to select the multi-cut to add the loop here. Hit on W, double click to select that loop, hit on R, and we're just going to scale that out a bit, and we're going to repeat the same process here. And let's undo this as well. The loop. Yeah, so we're going to down control and middle click to add the loop in the middle. So now when you on W, double click, hit on R, I'm going to scale this out. Multi-cut to add one here and add one here. So hit on W, double click on this, hit on R. I'm going to scale that out a bit. Double click on this, R, scale this out just a little bit. Now we can right click, go into the object mode, hit on 3 to go into the normal mode. Okay, now we can balance this, select the multi-cut to add a loop there, add a loop here, and I think here, and finally here. All right, this is looking good now. So now we can hit on 1, hit on W, right click, object mode, delete history, face transformation, center the pivot, and now we're going to drag it over to this here, hit on R, and we're going to scale it down. I think like this, hit on W, and we'll bring it out, bring it here, bring it here. Right, so now let's bring this down. Hit on R, we're going to scale this up. We can just push this here, and I think R, and just scale this up. You can adjust this as you want, but I'm going to leave this way. And yeah, I'm going to select both of them, hit on Control G to group them, and I'm going to name them flower. Hit on Enter, and I'm just going to select the group, delete the free transformation, delete history, and center the pivot. Hit on W, and now we can just drag this to this part here, and we can drop it. All right, let's take this up just like that. All right, now let's drop this here. Perfecto. All right, now we're done with the flower. You can make this big if you want it to be big. Yeah, you can make it big if you want it to be big, but I'm just going to keep mine that way. So now the only thing left for us to do is to model the books and spread this across our scene, and that is what we are going to work on in the next lesson. So I'm going to see you guys in the next lesson. Okay, the final thing to model is the book, and we're just going to model that. So now we're just going to shift right click and add a cube, hit on Control 1 to isolate the cube. So let's just drag this up. And now we're going to, first, before we do anything, we're just going to select the multi-cut to hold down Control, add a loop in the middle. Now W, right click, go into the object mode, hit on F to frame this in, and now we're going to hit on R, and we're going to scale this along the y-axis. So I think pretty small, depending on how you want your book to be, along the x-axis. And yeah, this is fine. Now we're going to right click, go into the edge mode. We're going to select this edge and this edge. We're going to hit on Control B to bevel. So I think we're going to add one segment. Yeah, one segment. So we're just going to have extra 1, 2 lines here and 1, 2 from here. Okay, now we're not going to play with the fraction or anything. We're just going to click off. Now we're going to right click, go into the face mode, select this face, select these faces here. Make sure we select the loop round. Now we're going to offset this a little bit to create the inner part of the book. So we're going to hit on Ctrl E to extrude. Now we're going to offset just a bit. And this is okay. Yeah, that is okay. And now we're going to take this inward, we're hit on G to repeat the last command. And we're going to take the thickness inward a bit. All right, this is fine depending on how deep you want your book to be. That is how you are going to do it. So now we're just going to select this edge from here, hit on W, and we're going to push this inward. And that is a little bit not looking good, just looking sharp. Okay, now we're going to hit on Control B, and here we're going to do some calculations here. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so now what we're going to do, let's add segment 1. So we have 1, 2, 3. So now we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we can easily connect this to this one here, this one to this one, this one to this one, and this one to this one, and this one goes over to this part here. All right. Now this is good. We are done. Now we can just right click, go into the object mode. So this is our book. You can leave it this way, but I don't like the way this is looking. So I'm going to work on all this. So first I'll select the multi-cut tool, and I'm going to enable. So this is Z. This is still in the center. So let me see very well. Let's see. Yeah, this is still in the center. So I'm just going to enable object Z from here. So just to make sure everything I do is accurate. So now I'm going to select that point there and connect it to this point. It's actually not accurate, but let's hit on enter. We're going to select this point, connect it here, hit on enter. We're going to select, I guess, this point, connect it here, hit on enter, and this point, connect it here, hit on enter, and we're going to select this one and connect it to this one here, and just hit on enter. So now we can hit on W, go into the edge mode, and we're going to select this edge, this, and this, and we're going to Control delete them. So we have what happened here. Do we mistakenly connect that edge? So okay, so let's really see what's going on. So we did, I think, a little bit of a mistake here, but anyway, yeah. So let me see. Now this edge is not connecting to this one, so let's just also select this and this, Control and delete. We'll delete something in the middle. Yeah. Okay, now we're supposed to have about 5 here, not just 4, because if we delete that, and then we're not going to have anyone connecting this one here, so we're going to undo this. Yeah, we're going to undo that and hit on Control B to bevel. So we're going to add segment. So currently we have 1, 2. So we have 1. So we're going to add extra 1. So let's see, we have this to this to this. So we're going to need, I guess, extra one. All right, so this to this, this to this, this to this, and this to this. All right, this is working well. Now we'll go back and turn on the symmetry object Z, select the multi-cut to. Now we can properly connect this together. So we're going to select this one. Select this and connect it here. Hit on enter, select this and connect it here. Hit on enter. And now we can properly connect this to this. I hit on enter. So let's see, this is connecting properly this time. All right, now we're going to hit on W. The edge mode, we're going to select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we're going to control delete. All right, this is looking good. Now you can adjust this if you want. We can go into the let's go into the edge mode and let's see if we can double click this loop and let's see what we can do. So let's hit on R and try to scale flat. Of course, it's not working. So we're just going to, I guess, we're going to leave this way. We're not going to arrange it. And of course, we can arrange it. You can just go into the vertex mode. And from here, you can just drag each and every one of this and just arrange it the way you want to arrange it. But I'm just going to hit on Ctrl Z to undo that. Now we can right click, go into the object mode, hit on 3 to go into the subdue mode, and wow, look at this. This is perfect. It's really perfect. All right, so we're going to hit on 1, and now we can just select the multi-cut to add multiple edges around here and add multiple edges around here. I will have this big space here, so let's add this. All right, now we can go into the object mode, hit on 3, and okay, this is working well, but not as it's supposed to be. So we need to hold all these edges very well. But I think we can just leave the book in the normal mode. So I'm going to hit on W and just click off. We can leave our book this way. Now I'm going to hit on Ctrl 1 to bring back all the items we isolate. Now I'm going to just freeze transformation, delete history, center the pivot, and now we can bring this here and drop it on the table. And maybe we can make it a little bit bigger, just like this. W, drag this up, push it here, and drop it. Now we'll hit on E and rotate this, hold on J, and if it's not working, hit on Ctrl Z to undo that, hold on J again, and this should snap in place. All right, now we're going to rotate it that way, and it's not really on the table, so all right, this is fine. Okay, now we can just quickly double click on this and name this to book, hit on enter, and now we can hold on shift, clone this, and move it to this part here. Hit on J, hit on E, and hold on J, and rotate this like this, and also rotates it like this. Hit on W, and let's just bring it down here. This can work. So let's put this in Word and drag it here. And now we can just bring this down just like that and push it close to the wall. Okay, now we have two here, we have three here, and we have two here. So we're going to clone this and just give it a little space, and we're going to push it all the way to this part here, and now give a little space and give a little space. All right, now we're just going to clone this and clone an extra one here, and we are done. All right, and I think this is looking a little bit scanty, so we're going to select this or I shift select all these ones, and I'm just going to clone them just like that. All right, so now we are done with everything concerning modeling. It is time for us to start UV mapping. So for this series, I'm going to select this, and we have this at this part here. So we'll go into the face mode. I'm going to select turn off the symmetry. So let's see, this should be the center, and I'm going to select 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, now we're going to hit on Control E to extrude, and that shouldn't just turn around like that. So I think we are in the, let's hit on 1. All right, and we'll hit on Control E to extrude, and we're going to offset a little bit, but I have issues here, so I'm going to undo this selection. So I can just right click, go into the edge mode, double click on this loop, hit on R, and I'm going to scale flat, select this, scale flat. Almost everything here is having this issue, so we're going to scale flat, scale flat, scale flat, and I think we need one loop here as well, so we're going to scale flat, scale flat, scale flat, and we can leave this one just like that. So we're going to select this, scale flat, select this, scale flat. We can just grab the cut too quickly and add a loop there. Select this loop, R, and we can scale flat. Select this, scale flat, this, scale flat, select this, scale flat, and this is just repeat. I'm just going to quickly speed this. All right, now we're done. Let's just quickly turn on symmetry Z so that we can use this to find, let's go into the face mode. So this is the center part of our TV. So we're going to select this whole faces, and let's just turn off symmetry, and we're going to hit on Control E to extrude. We're going to hold down Control and Shift, and we're going to offset inward just like that. And I think we're going to do that one more time. Hit on G, offset inward, hit on G, and we're just going to push this inside just like that. Now we can go into the object mode, hit on 3. That is actually going to be rounded, but I think Let's hit on 1. But I think we can work with that. We can go into the edge mode, select this loop, hit on Control B to bevel, turn off chamfer, and let's just reduce the fraction. And we actually need a holding edge there, so we can go back into the object mode, hit on 3, and we're still going to have that same issue because we did not turn off the chamfer. We did not bevel the inner one, so I'm just going to leave it that way. So we can just work with it TV this way. Now we can go into the object mode and click off. We're just going to leave it this way. Well, you get the idea of everything, and now this is our final model. In the next lesson, before we start your mapping, we are going to take out our time to arrange all these just to make sure that our outliner is very clean and organized, so that it is also going to be easy for us to locate different objects in our scene. Of course, I forgot something, so I'm going to grab this book, clone this, and drop it here so that that place won't be empty. All right, so we can just drop it here, and let's push this forward. All right, now we are done with modeling of our scene. This is a little bit laggy. I really don't know why. I know just because of the whole smooth preview, this everything we have here, there is the issue. So now we have our outliner that is messy, and we are done with our models. So now if you want to go back, or you just want to have a progressive save, or just an incremental save, so that you have everything separately, you know when to go back to your Maya scene. So we can go over to File and scroll down to the part that says increment and save. And when we do that, it is going to create a new version for us in our scene. So right here we see warning, no changes made. So let's just do something like this. Hit on Control Z, and let's go to File, increment and save. And now we have isometric house 00.0001 dot. So we have the previous one in our so let me quickly show you that. I will look for that in my Maya folder, document, and Maya, go to project, class, Maya beginner class, send, and bam, here is it. So now you can see that we have isometric house dot 001, and this is the previous one we are working on. So from now on, we're going to be working on isometric house dot 0001 dot MB. So this is what we are going to organize. This is the scene we are going to use in organizing our outliner, and after organizing the outliner, we are also going to do an increment and save before we start UV mapping. So I'm going to see you guys in the next lesson where we're going to start UV mapping.